Tomorrow is July the 1st. We start Q3 2022, and I have two new portfolios. I've retired the other portfolios, stock index portfolio 26 for E-mini micros, the 500K that was listed there for a while, and the stock index portfolio 27. And what I have now is a stock index portfolio set up for the E-minis, the micros, and then I combine that in a 500K portfolio, stock index and commodity portfolio. I've included some new systems that I've researched, but I haven't added them to the portfolio yet. This is the data through June 29th. This says 6:30 because after today's close, I will be adding June 30th data. And so the data is not updated through June 30th yet, but I'm making this before the market closes. I've updated the margins, and we're back to day trade margins on these, but they could go up, and so you have to consider that. So the trade station margins through June 30th, you can see they were at 12,540 for the E-mini S&P, for example, and we also use that same number for day trade margins. And so also let's take a look at crude oil margins. Crude oil margins were at where is crude oil? They were at 23.1, now they're 18,370, so still high. Heating oil has gone up from 24 to 34 on the margins. We don't trade heating oil, but NASDAQ was at 17.6. It's dropped about $1,100, and we list the day trade margin now for the day trade strategy. So the account size required will show lower, and this is if all strategies take a net position, and if all strategies were to take a net position and they raised margins. I've never seen a situation where all strategies before would take a net position, so even if they raise margins, you could use some of these numbers, but the conservative number would be to not rely on day trade margins in case of higher volatility. So updates for the calculator. I've added new strategies as well. You can scroll down, you can see those. I'll talk more about those later, and you'll be getting those if you're an All Strategy Access subscriber. They're not in the portfolios yet, and they're brand new, some of those, and so you can use those if you want, if you're on All Strategy Access. So what does the portfolio look like for the stock index portfolio for the E-minis and micros? I've listed them both here, and my recommendation, and so we've got 24 strategies. And how did I derive these 24 strategies? So I'm going to show you, we removed adaptive moving average, we removed both tick pullbacks. We did not remove these two yet. I'm going to show you what happens when we remove those, but we will ultimately remove those as I develop this intro video. And we switch to a new tick pulse, and we add the trend that overlaps. We're adding one new strategy, a new tick pulse, and we're getting rid of some redundancies and overactive strategies, long only night strategies, and the strategies that are doing, this strategy is doing terrible. So these two are still listed. And so we're not going to have 24 strategies, we're going to have 22 strategies. And I wanted to show you, make a live video to show you this setup. And here is what we're looking at. We expand this list. I expand it again, I double clicked on it. And so we have, you see 34,175, 55.98 is a total profit over the drawdown. Now let's look at the drawdown curve and equity curve. It's having a nice month, 19,730 with this setup. Here is the drawdown curve, getting rid of the systems that we don't like, adjusting a couple of systems. And so this is what we're looking at. But we also want to remove some other additional systems, NightTrader. So look at this worst case drawdown, 34,175 per E-mini. What happens if we remove NightTrader? I'm going to remove NightTrader right here. NightTrader doesn't show up anymore, and gap continuation and reverse doesn't show up anymore. And we're matching the stock indexes that we're putting in the combined stock index commodity portfolio when we do that. Now we go from a $34,000 to a $51,000 worst case drawdown, and this really drops. But why would we do that? Those strategies make the past from over 10 years ago look better, but since then, the recent 10 years is better. So that's what I prefer to go with. This is going to be the official portfolio setup with 22 strategies. And NightTrader, for example, lost twice last night. Was down 5,400, trading 18 micros, for example. $1,500 stop loss. It would have lost 3,000 per E-mini last night. So 31,940 is the worst case drawdown since about 2011. So this time frame right here is 2011. So for the last 11 years, if you start here and go forward and then measure the drawdown, see if you go here, there's no drawdown, not a big drawdown, not a big drawdown. Your worst case drawdown going back 11 years is about 31,940, which is 32,000, and that other drawdown was 34,000. So we get a lower drawdown the last 11 years, but we get a higher drawdown if we go back prior to that. So I'm not going to keep two strategies that don't seem relevant for this market, just so this looks good from 2008 through 2011. I'm not going to do that, and so we're going with what's relevant now. You can see the strategies that we have are more relevant now. That's why it's thicker here. The recoveries happen quicker. We're at higher index levels, and so we're going with what's relevant. And if it becomes more irrelevant, the drawdowns might take longer. They might be steeper. So that's why we're going to start on a drawdown. We're going to wait for a drawdown. As of yesterday, 86.95 out of, I want to show you real quick. Let's just delete the data prior to June of 2011. So if I go in here and I delete the data prior to June 2011, so I'm deleting this data, and I'll just use the undo button. And so you get 31,940. This is 54.75. And you can come down here and you can look at this equity curve over the past 11 years, and you can see how see where the relevance is. And so I like this drawdown curve better than adding the gap continuation in NightTrader. So that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to click the undo button so that data comes back, and we also match the setup that we have for the stock indexes in the 500K stock index and commodity portfolio. Let's click on that right here, and you get 8202. This is what I like. We're adding let's see, 22. We're adding, I guess, 17 strategies here. No gold. We have 4 silver, 3 copper. That's 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 crude oil, 11, 12, 13. 3 natural gas, 14 RBOB, 15, 16, 17. 3 soybean strategies, and so we may make additional revisions. Those are the commodity strategies that have held up through all of this. We had a lot of volatility. Soybeans, gold, and crude oil were the challenge. We've completely cut gold. We've scaled back on gold, and we've scaled back on crude oil, and we've only keep the day trade strategies in soybeans. So this is the 500K stock index and commodity portfolio. This actually has a lower drawdown, trading more systems, because you get that additional diversity. And the capital required is 339K. And so yeah, that's what we have. I'm excited about this setup because this is what's working now. The stock indexes are what's working now. If we take a look at the stock indexes, if you would have traded this month, up 22,430. It's been working this year, and then the commodities also. So the last losing month was November of 2020. Before that, November of 2019, 3, May of 2019. So the beginning of 2019 was weak, and so the relevancy exists here in the recent time frame, and not too bad. Going back to 2017, I mean 25K is not great, but on a 200K portfolio, if that's a bad year, that's not too bad still. So that's what I want to share with you on the stock index portfolio. We can trade those for the micros, you can trade those for the minis, you can trade the brand new stock index and commodity portfolio. 500K, you know, this could be, you could trade this with less, 339K here, even 300K. Margins would be, if you have 11,550 here, and for the NASDAQ you have 16,500 if they get rid of day trade margins. then your capital required becomes 462K. On the stock index portfolio, it becomes 300K. So that is the new setup for July the 1st, 2022. I'll be licensing the new setup and getting those to you as soon as possible. If you are a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber, you can contact us and get more information.
Hey, David Bean here. Welcome to Capstone Trading Systems YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe to join our community of algorithmic traders. We are real money traders. We share our winning streaks, we share our losing streaks, as well as market updates, strategies, and coding tips.